Hi, what's up, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Ashley. Today I want to talk to you guys about who I think is the unsung hero of YA fantasy, and I'm so excited because this author really got me back into reading when I was probably around a sophomore in college, and I picked up this book and I started reading it, and it was like, I started reading it like pretty late. It was like 10 p.m. Should have gone to bed, had class the next morning at like 8, and I read it and I legitimately could not stop. Like, I had no self-control, and I finished the entire book that night because it was just everything after another. Like, there was no dragging point, there was nothing. I was so emotionally invested in every single character, and I just needed to know how it was gonna end, and it was absolutely beautiful. I loved it. I loved the writing, and that book is Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. So I'm basically going to be talking about who I think is the unsung hero of YA fantasy, which I personally believe to be Adrienne Young. Adrienne Young is one of my absolute favorite authors, and for the reason that she wasn't even in my favorite authors, my first video where I talked through some of my favorite authors, is beyond me. I just completely forgot. And that's why she's the unsung hero. Like, I just forget about her, but she's probably one of the best writers. Like, she's so good. So when I was talking to you guys about that book, Sky in the Deep, I am an actual heathen and took the freaking dust jacket off when I got it in college, and my cat like went to town on it multiple times. There's some right there too. And then there's like the mantra of the book, which is breathe fire. Alfie, why do you want to knock my camera over? Why? Literally, last night I was sitting on my bed watching TV, and Alfie got up on my desk, and this candle, that black candlestick, he just kind of put his paw on it like that, and looked straight at me. Like, he had the audacity to look right at me and just continue to knock it off my desk until it fell to the ground, and me, being who I am, just watched him and was like, why? But this book, Sky in the Deep, is basically like, think like the Vikings TV show, but the characters are more likable, you know? I don't know if I can really say that. Like, I don't want people that are big fans of the show to like if I wanted to be like, if I wanted a fandom to come at me, it wouldn't be that fandom, you know? But it is so, there's so much emotional depth in the book, and it also builds plot really well. Like, I was hooked in from like the first page, and honestly, since I lost the dust jacket, like, I can't look at the synopsis to like help you guys figure it out. So I'm just gonna leave it as a surprise. It is my favorite of all of her books, hands down. Also, guys, look how cute this mug is. Look how cute it is, and the handle is like that. So basically, I went 2 hours out of my way to go to IKEA, and I only got 2 of these glasses, which were like 69 cents. I said, that's a steal. And then I got 2 huge packages of candlesticks because I burn candles like it's my job. Alfie, scratch me one more time. He just wrapped his entire, he just plunged all of his claws into my foot. Alfie! I don't want to play. I don't want to play. Interestingly enough, the first novel she wrote, which is Sky in the Deep, her second novel is actually a spin-off of Sky in the Deep. Yes, the lead guy in the second novel is in Sky in the Deep. He is honestly like the heart and like the innocence and the purity behind Sky in the Deep, and you love his character. He's a child in the first book, and he is a man, like a, well, entering into manhood. I'd say he's about, I think like 18 maybe. Again, these are YA, so these people are like on the cusp of adulthood, you know. The second novel is The Girl the Sea Gave Back. And this one is really cool. Obviously still very like Viking, a little bit more on the fantasy side, which I really enjoyed. I will say it wasn't super focused in romance, even though like romance wasn't even the sure like plot in Sky in the Deep. It was definitely a subplot. Like there was romance in there, but it was more about the relationship between a sister and a brother. This one, like it has romance, but again, not even a subplot of this book. Like it's definitely like a category, but not really touched on a lot until like the very end. Like the two main characters, which is this girl and the guy from Sky in the Deep, like they really don't even interact until like you hit the middle of the book and then at the end of the book. But yes, this book was super good. I will say, even with this book being super good, it is my least favorite out of all of the author's books, but I still heavily enjoyed it and would definitely read it again, would definitely recommend it. But I absolutely love like this world. Like I love this world. I never really watched the Vikings TV show, but maybe I like should if I liked this book. Probably not. I feel like the show's like really violent, and I'm very like prone to anxiety, so probably for my mental stability I probably won't, but I'll live vicariously for those who do watch it, you know. But yes, I love this. I will say that this book is definitely like, this book has like a lot more impact and like super powerful and beautifully written. This one is definitely more on like the haunting and the eerie side. Like it is still definitely beautiful, but it just has like a different tone than Sky in the Deep, and I'm all for it. I loved both of them so much. So yeah, there's that. I want to talk about two recent reads that I've done from Adrienne Young, and these books definitely solidified her to me as like an amazing author in YA fantasy, and that is Fable. This had me on the edge of my seat. So Fable is a 17-year-old girl, and her father is like a super powerful trader in this city called the Narrows. After Fable's mother dies in a shipwreck during a storm, Fable's father, who is called Saint, literally abandons her on this island, and basically she will do whatever she can to survive and to get food and to live, but also to get off the island. Like that's her main goal, is to get off the island and show her father that she is capable and meant for this world, and like she is strong enough and like cutthroat enough to be in his life and be in what he does, which is being a trader, which is like super dangerous, and you have to be like, you have to have like a certain like stance about you, you know? But I absolutely love Fable. Like I love her personality. I do think that in this book, like you really see her struggle to be a good person or a morally gray person, but an event happens where she has to get off this island that she's in or she will die, and she runs into West, and it's really interesting to see their dynamic. But basically West allows Fable to come on the ship so they can take her to the Narrows, but it's definitely like not the easiest friendship. Like it's not automatic or anything like that. Like everyone in the crew, including West, makes her feel like such a burden because she had to jump on the ship for her life. Like it's kind of like you really feel for Fable, like you feel for her, but then you kind of start to see like the likable side of the crew, and like she gets to know them and they get to know her and see that, you know, she's not just like this thief or this traitor, because like where she grew up, I mean, she was on this island for like I think 4 or 5 years, and this island is known to produce, I think it's called dredgers, and dredgers are basically divers for gems, treasure, some stuff like that. It's just crazy, and action-packed for real. There's so much drama, there's so much going on. Like you get to see a little bit into every single one of the crew's lives. I love West. I mean, it took me a minute because he's a little sketch, but I did end up liking him. Like it just took a minute, you know? Sometimes it just takes a minute. But yes, I absolutely love this. All right, and that leaves our next book, which is a sequel to Fable, and that is called Namesake. And guys, this is so exciting. When they made these books, first of all, they're gorgeous, but they made them so they could sit on your shelf like this. Like, excuse you. Definitely does continue to follow Fable and West and Willa and Saint and Clove, and how all of those relationships just kind of interact and correlate. And we also see a lot of growth when it comes to these relationships. We see a lot of growth. We see a lot of these relationships break under pressure. I loved seeing the relationship between Fable and her father Saint. I definitely think there was a lot more growth. But there's also a bunch of like secrets that were discovered between them and like betrayal. It's a very messy relationship because these two characters are not perfect. I thought that this book kind of wrapped it up nicely for the reader. I do think that the ending was definitely left for interpretation. I mean, it ended nicely, but you know, there could have been a lot more said, but I kind of like that the author, you know, kind of left that for the reader to like imagine that in their own head. At least I know I did. But yes, I absolutely loved this book. I thought it was amazing. I will say, like, if I was doing Sky in the Deep and The Girl the Sea Gave Back and then Fable and Namesake, like Fable and Namesake as a total, like as a duology, are superior. But Sky in the Deep as a like as an individual book is better than all of them. And that's her first book that she released. I mean, there's only 4 right now, but I'm expecting a lot from this author. I hope she puts out more books because, like, wow, like I cried in every single one of them. First of all, I've done this whole video and I just noticed my freaking reflection in the gosh darn mirror. I'm not redoing this video. It's literally like Inception. I'm not redoing this video, so cheers. Oh, when you know your coffee gets like room temp, delicious. All right, and that's all that I have for you today. Real quick, I know that you know that I did a TBR for June. Y'all, I'm just telling you right now, I read about 4 books on that long list because I hit a reading slump. I hit the biggest reading slump I've ever had in my whole life in the month of June. And you know what? I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad at that because honestly, I didn't even start myself off on a realistic expectation. I don't know why I did that. I'm just expecting too much out of myself, especially just starting off. I've never had to like mathematically think like, okay, I need to read this book in this amount of time to finish my whole list for June. Like, I just didn't think that. So I don't know if I'm going to continue with the TBR. I mean, I probably will, but will I stick to it? I will try. But I probably will combine like a wrap up, like a June wrap up and a July TBR together because again, the TBR will be pretty loose and I didn't get many books done in June. So there's that. But anyway, thank you guys so much. That is all that I have for you today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Take me back to the nights we felt alive, picking up the pieces on a summer night. It did